There's a quote that I believe you said. The quote was, "Recognize that good intentions aren't everything. Just because you're trying to have a positive impact doesn't mean you won't accidentally make things worse." Many social and environmental problems are complex. As social entrepreneurs, we need to recognize that sometimes we may lack local or on the ground insights essential to seeing the whole picture. With that quote, which is just brilliant, how are you thinking about local or on the ground insights when defining a protocol system?
Yeah. So in a lot of ways, and I think where that quote comes from and where that, thinking in Topple comes from is like, so if anyone's familiar with the refi space, there is like just this absolute Cambrian explosion right now of interest, people, technologists, people in Web3 saying like, hey, we're going to start solving some of these problems. We're going to completely reimagine carbon markets, or we're going to completely reimagine X. But one of the problems is these markets, they'll already exist. There's complexities in in these different areas that sometimes coming from the purely technologist or purely startup Web3 approach, we might be missing, and we might run into obstacles that those who are already in the space or those that have on the ground experience could have actually pointed out for us in advance. And the way that that affects our thinking is, well, the first thing that it affected us doing is we took a bit of a different approach when we were building out our protocol. So, not only I've been in the blockchain space going all the way back, 2012, 2013, and Topo actually got its start when ICOs were still happening, when people were still doing initial coin offerings. So we had that as a potential route on the table for us. We could launch the token, launch the first version of the protocol right away, and just kind of get right out of the gate. The reason that we passed on that option really went down to the fact that we didn't think we knew enough yet, and that everything that we had been building, every decision that we had made, was just our best guess. And once you go through decentralization, once you go through your token event, protocols start to calcify. It becomes, kind of difficult to make big changes, as anyone familiar with chain or even DeFi governance can attest to. These votes are really challenging, and big changes for these public listed projects, they're tricky to navigate. There's been like some absolutely amazing interviews that people in the Cosmos ecosystem have actually given on their big Stargate update when they finally introduced IBC, their like inter-blockchain messaging protocol. It was like this massive coordination problem to like get this update through, and we knew we wanted to avoid challenges like that, and so we made sure to take the time to run a number of what we refer to as reference customer programs or reference user programs. So this is where we bring in maybe half a dozen or a dozen different organizations at a time that are actually their supply chain or commodities actors, or these are like on the ground in the global south impact and sustainability groups. And we will go through actually processes of co-development with them, where we say, we're going to bring in this new feature into the chain, or we're going to build this application together. And we actually, will lengthen it out 6 months, a year, sometimes maybe even longer, and say, let's do co-development actually with these organizations. Because, we have very interesting ideas, but those ideas definitely need to be fact checked, so to speak.